Good evening, board members and residents. I'd like to call to order our regular board meeting for Monday, June 22nd, 2026. This time I would ask that everybody present please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Vatkins. Here. Mr. Brado has asked to be excused. Mr. Olgiati has asked to be excused. Ms. Rabeau.
Here.
Mr. Tominello has asked to be excused. Mr. Witt, here. Mr. Perkest.
Here. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which includes approval of the regular board meeting minutes of June 8th, 2026, approval of the bills in the amount of $1,143,989.51, and approval of the May 2026 revenue and expenditure report. Unless there are any revisions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
We have a motion, by Mr. Badkins with support by Ms. Rabeau to approve the consent agenda as presented. Discussion. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next is the approval of the regular agenda. Board members, I'm not aware of any revisions to the agenda. If there are none, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the regular agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Got a motion by Ms. Rabeau with support by Mr. Badkins to approve the regular agenda. Discussion. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next, supervisor and board comments. I do have some announcements. I would like to begin by acknowledging the honor bestowed on my partner and friend, Mr. Adam Witt. Adam was named as the 2026 Clerk of the Year for all clerks in Michigan. I think that deserves a round of applause. Adam has served in several roles with the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, including he is a past president, and the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks represents thousands of clerks across the state. So pretty significant to be recognized out of potentially thousands of people. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I know you love soaking in the...
This is suntan, not my face turning red.
Yep, just wallowing in the, right, which is typical for clerks.
Yeah.
Our first free concert in the park is this Thursday, June 25th. It begins at 6 p.m. and we encourage you to bring your lawn chairs and enjoy the sounds of, the first performer is 9D Proof. And that will be at our beautiful Miller Park, located on Jefferson, south of Shook. For more information on this, as well as any other township event, you can call the supervisor's office, 586-466-1445, or visit our website, www.harrisontownshipmi.gov. Are there any other announcements?
Just a couple election-related announcements, Mr. Supervisor. Starting this Thursday, absentee ballots will be available for individuals. If you are on our permanent absentee list or you've already requested an absentee ballot, those will be mailed out. Should show up in your mailbox sometime Friday, Saturday this weekend. You will receive an email from me if you have your email, just confirming that it is in the mail. If you don't see the email and you normally do, please feel free to reach out and we'll make sure we can get you a ballot as easy as we can.
Okay. Any other announcements? Hearing none, we'll move forward on our agenda to item D1, appointments. Board members, one of our existing Planning Commission members, Mr. Mark Bacha, has expressed that he would like to be considered for reappointment to the Planning Commission. He's a long-time serving member of our Planning Commission. Another current member, Mr. Tim Duncan, has asked not to be reappointed. And we do have an applicant, Mr. Mike Vyzenko, who would like to be considered as a new committee member for the Planning Commission. Mr. Vyzenko would be replacing Commissioner Duncan, who is stepping down. Both appointments would carry a 3-year term, and it would expire June 22nd, 2022, if approved. I'm proposing that we accept the resignation of Tim Duncan from the Planning Commission, approve the reappointment of Mark Baccia, and appoint Mike Vyzenko to the Planning Commission for 3-year terms to expire June 22nd, 2029.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Witt with support by Mr. Badkins. Mr. Vyzenko has served in the past on our Planning Commission when we had a long-term absence. He's been a building official for many years, obviously a resident, and I believe he's been building official of the year once or twice for the state of Michigan, so certainly a well-qualified individual. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next is one of several SAD hearings. And
Yes. So at our May 26th regular meeting, we adopted resolution number 4, which set tonight as the second public hearing for the Elm Lane Seawall Installation Special Assessment District. And the purpose of this notice was run in the Journal twice and as well as mailed to each property owner. Purpose of this hearing is to review the roll. This roll is simple as it has 2 classes and they're all paying the same based on which class they're in. So Point Rosa Street is paying 1 and the other street is paying another, about half.
Yep, which is all pursuant to a circuit
Pursuant to
court.
court order, yes.
Yep, circuit court decision and order.
So we would just need a motion to open the public hearing, then we would have the floor available for anybody for the Elm Lane project to speak to the project as proposed.
All right, is there a motion to open public hearing number 2?
I'll make that motion.
Is there support?
Support?
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Ms. Rabot to open the public hearing. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Botto is excused, Mr. Olgiat is excused, Mr. Tominello is excused, Mr. Witt, yes, Mr. Verkust.
Yes. At this time, the public hearing for the Elm Lane seawall installation SAD is open. Anyone present who wishes to speak for or against is encouraged to come to the podium. If there's more than one of you and you see that one of your neighbors is speaking and you want to come on up, we've got on-deck chairs to keep the comments moving. So is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment on the Elm Lane seawall installation SAD? See, oh, good thing I asked a third time.
Wow.
Larry Paluchek, 37911 Seaway Court. I'm for the SAD, and it really doesn't affect me because I'm not in the pay thing. But I think you guys missed one lot on that SAD. Okay?
SAD.
Okay. That would be the pie-shaped lot that was on the corner there. Somebody wants to develop it. Now it has an address, but I don't believe you included that lot. I just don't know if that has any effect on it. That's all I want to bring up.
Okay, thank you.
And its address was Lot 1 on Jefferson Avenue. But it backs down on this Point Rosa, and it was later readdressed by the township as 38051 Point Rosa. So just to go on record, because it is in line with those homes.
Okay. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll look for a motion to close public comment. Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make the motion to close public comment.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Motion by Ms. Rabot with support by Mr. Badkins to close public comment on public hearing number 2. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes. Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Botto is excused, Mr. Olgiat is excused, Mr. Tominello is excused, Mr. Witt, yes, Mr. Verkust.
Yes. So I know that this discussion about inclusion or exclusion of that lot came up previously when we talked about the road SAD. And I know that when we did talk about that, we did say that we believe there is a chance that the driveway for that lot would be directed out on Point Rosa. It certainly isn't, it's a part of the Point Rosa plat, or the subdivision plat when this was put out. But to date, it has not been a part of this SAD. It was not a part of the lawsuit. I don't believe the lot was included in that. And so, up until now, we have not, as far as I know, we have not considered the inclusion of that lot into the SAD. I don't know that I have a real strong opinion either way. Mr. Witt?
I would defer to legal counsel on it, because this is something that the boundaries have been defined by the lawsuit.
Yeah, so I could understand that, but so I guess I would just say, if I were to try to follow some sort of, decision-making model, on one hand, it hasn't been included up until now. It hasn't been considered as a part of the SAD. It hasn't been a part of the lawsuit. Regardless of who currently owns it, no one who's owned it has, as far as I know anyways, participated legally. And so, that would be one argument to say, should it be? That might be an argument that would suggest that it should not be included in the SAD. Inversely, if someone were to develop that lot and moor a boat in that canal, which could be occluded by the collapsing seawall, is of a benefit. So that seawall, some might argue, would benefit whoever might own that lot. So I could kind of see it either way. I guess the best that I'm prepared to do is say that we would address this to legal counsel. Mr. Kirk is not our regular attorney, but I'll ask if this is kind of a new case to you. Our typical attorney who attends isn't here, and
I know the case has been around for a long time, know the basics of it, don't know the specific answers.
yeah, and I would be uncomfortable, putting you on the spot, because obviously Mr. Huth has had a longer involvement in it.
I feel like the safest path forward would be to table resolution number 5 then.
Okay.
Because that's confirming the role as it's been prepared, and the public hearing was to speak to the role. We'll investigate the matter and,
Yeah.
Work with our attorney, the individual's attorneys, make sure we're checking all the boxes, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so 2 is a public hearing. Well, what's the purpose of a public hearing if you can't receive public comment? And in fact, if you receive public comment that has some value, you should contemplate it. So E2, which is resolution 5, is actually taking action. It's important for everyone to understand that prior to these various motions and these various agenda items, we've already adopted a resolution that allows us to move forward with the project independent of the special assessment district. In other words, if we choose to table item E2, which is resolution 5, which establishes the role, it doesn't prevent the project from moving forward. What we're talking about and voting on is, for lack of a better word, how to divvy up the cost. And if including one more lot is appropriate, it would seem appropriate that we would wait on that, get an attorney's opinion, and act on that possibly at the next meeting. I know that the public hearings require notice. Does an adoption of resolution 5 require any notice?
No, sir.
So that doesn't result in us having to pay for any more news articles or waiting until something's published and so many days thereafter. So it seems responsible, which is why you're clerk of the year.
Yeah.
We do have public comment that was finished. It sounds like you were asking about, do we have a start date? And we've been in conversation with the contractor and the attorney for the residents on Point Rosa, as those present might recall, if somebody may not. The court decision said that Point Rosa shall abate the nuisance, meaning they're, for lack of a better word, the decision makers. But then it laid out the cost. We did meet with Mr. Davis, their legal counsel for Point Rosa, as well as the marine contractor, Mr. Plagans, I believe. We talked about, different things. I don't know that we have a start date. What I recall from that meeting was he said that once he puts his barge down that canal, there won't be any folks using their boats. So the thought was that he would wait a little bit later in the season when everybody is a little less excited about having their boats, have time to give everybody a notice in case somebody at the end of the canal, needs to get their boat out. He may very well work, beyond the normal boating season. But they had indicated to me that they were looking to kind of schedule this project to be late in the boating season and into the later part of the season. So, I'm gonna guess, I'm going out on a limb, but I'm gonna guess like September start time, something like that, wrapping it up through the year and then getting out. He did indicate in the meeting, and we did receive a letter from a resident talking about shoaling on that canal. I do believe there are some parts of that canal he's gonna actually have to dredge just to get his barge down there. So that adds to some of the work that's involved. There's some high spots or things like that that he just can't get into, and sometimes later in the summer season, there's a history of the water levels going down a little bit, which could restrict navigation. So we'll have to see on that, but that's the best answer I have. That's what I know from the meetings we've had, so. Okay. We're gonna table item E2 at this point. Does that take action by the board?
Whatever we want.
Is there any discussion or concern from the rest of the board on tabling that, or?
Yeah, and I don't know if we have a date certain. The goal will be to bring it back as soon as possible, but obviously if there's any disagreements from either party, it might take longer. So.
Yeah. Is there any concern with the rest of the board to table item E2 to a future meeting? No? Mr. Badkins?
Nope, no problem.
All right, good. Well, with that, then I guess we'll move on to item E3. Mr. Witt?
I have a question now.
Yes.
After hearing what you
Yep,
just said, is it
so,
too late
yep.
for me to step out there and
Yep.
say something?
So out of respect for the residents, because, right, so I don't think we have our unruly crowd that's going to break out. I'll give you the opportunity to go on up and make public comment.
Hi, Lisa Hennicam, 37696 Elm Lane. I have two things to say. One, although it doesn't affect me one way or another, but the lot at the end of this street on Point Rosa, it seems to me the court order says split evenly between the residents on Point Rosa and the residents on Elm Lane. So that would suggest that that lot would be included. Just thought I'd point that out.
Yep.
But more importantly, I understand completely wanting to be able to use the canal to get their boats out. But waiting until the fall, or waiting and waiting and waiting like we've been waiting, we cannot do anything about the repair of Elm Lane until the seawall goes in. So I'm not sure that it's fair that it gets put off until the end of boating season. So I just like to point that out, that, we can hardly drive down our street right now. It's obviously and logically, it's worse than it's ever been, and we can't do anything about it until the seawall is fixed. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. So, as I did mention, whether it was well-received or not, ultimately, the court order says Point Rosa shall abate the nuisance, so they're kind of in the driver's seat. To be fair, I can understand the logic. Let me say this. I can understand the residents' concern that the sooner the better. I can also understand the logic of, waiting so that we don't, take away the value of being on a canal. The other thing is to me, if they said, well, we won't have the guardrail in until April, well, then I might start to have a little bit of a problem with that, because as we all know, the lack of that guardrail has caused a disruption in trash collection. So, I hear that, but this is difficult because I represent the folks on Elm Lane and I represent the folks on Point Rosa. And I could understand, folks on Elm Lane might say the sooner the better. Folks on Point Rosa might say, if we can wait, maybe I pull out my boat a month early. Maybe some guy who's really into fall fishing finds a neighbor who will let him keep his boat behind their house. At this point, I don't have legal authority to say I do not accept that.
Yeah, and I'm not one to practice law sitting up here.
Right.
But the lawsuit is between Point Rosa subdivision number 1, and that lot is a part of Point Rosa subdivision, not Point Rosa number 1. So I don't know if it was included, or if they had, because that's, again, real quick glance.
Yeah.
But up to the attorneys at this point.
Yeah. So I understand the concerns about the timing. I don't know that we're empowered. Our job in this is a fiduciary. We can borrow money cheaper and we can make sure that everybody pays their share. That's kind of our job. If someone says, well, they're making, we've discussed this at length, they're building the seawall wrong. I don't get to decide that. That's between two private parties. So, but I would rather share what I know with the folks here because this is important. This is your backyard or your front yard. So I answered the question in good faith to try to make sure everybody's informed. I don't want to hold any information back. With having said all of that, maybe we can move forward to
on.
item E3.
Right. So, much like before, at our May 26th meeting, we adopted a resolution which set tonight as the second public hearing for the Malice Street Road Improvement Special Assessment District. This notice was published twice in the Journal, and we also sent notice to each property owner for the properties to be assessed. Based on our local tax records, the hearing is for individuals to speak to the roll as it's been prepared. And again, we would need a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there support?
Support?
All right. We've got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Ms. Rabot to open the public hearing. Discussion. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Ms. Reveau?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiati is excused. Mr. Tominello is excused. Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. So at this time, the public hearing regarding the road improvement for Malice Street is open. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against the Malice Street SAD, you're invited to come to the podium. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Is there any public comment on Resolution 2 for the Malice Street SAD? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion with support to close the public hearing. Discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Witt, yes. Ms. Reveau?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiati is excused. Mr. Tominello is excused. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right, next is item E4, adopting resolution number 5. Mr. Witt?
Yes, sorry, gotta catch up. So resolution number 5, for this special assessment district, as well as the other ones that we're gonna talk about, basically lay out that the estimated final cost of the project, as well as when the cost will be, when they go on the roll, when they're gonna go, and then they establish them as a lien against the project, against the property, and basically lays out the terms for when that's gonna be invoiced by the treasurer's office, paid without any interest and everything else like that, so.
Okay. All right, so before us is resolution number 5. Is there any discussion on resolution number 5, or is there a motion to adopt resolution number 5?
I'll make a recommendation to adopt resolution number 5 for Malice Street SAD.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right. Motion by Mr. Batkins with support by Ms. Reveau to adopt resolution number 5. Any discussion? Hearing none, is there any public comment? Seeing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Ms. Reveau?
Yes.
Mr. Brado? Is excused. Mr. Tominello, I'm sorry, Mr. Olgiati is excused. Mr. Tominello is excused. Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. Thank you, Board. Next, item E5 regarding public hearing number 2 SAD for Pontchartrain.
Yes, so next on our agenda, we have the public hearing number 2 for the paving of Pontchartrain. As we discussed on the previous one, this is, all the noticing requirements were met for the hearing. The purpose of the hearing is for individuals to speak to the assessment roll as it's been prepared.
Okay. So at this time, we need a motion to open public hearing number 2 regarding the SAD for road improvements to Pontchartrain.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Witt with support by Ms. Rabot to open public hearing number 2. Discussion, board members. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Witt, yes. Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiati is excused. Mr. Tominello is excused. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. So at this time, public hearing number 2 is open for anyone who wishes to speak for or against the road improvement for Pontchartrain Special Assessment District.
Linda Cook, 27061 Pontchartrain, and I'm not for or against because it's done. I just have questions regarding how we're being billed. I don't want it on my, tax bill for my mortgage company. How is that being done?
Okay, so it isn't a back and forth, but we will answer that. Is there, again, so we can't address that. We normally don't get engaged in a back and forth, but should you have follow-up questions, once the roll is established, this is typically put on winter taxes, correct?
Yeah, ultimately, yes.
And so we're going to give you, the treasurer, once we have that number, sends out a bill to everybody, gives them 30, 40 days, something like that. It's up to the treasurer, but some period of time to pay up front. If you pay all at once, then you can, you're done. If not, then I think it's a 3-year
Yes.
project. So 1/3 of that with whatever interest rate would go on your winter tax bill December 1st. You can still pay it at any time. You can, pay it up, but you'll have a written notice and a period of time to pay in full, should you choose to, prior to your winter tax bill.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other public comment regarding the Pontchartrain SAD? Any other public comment? Any other public comment regarding Pontchartrain? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right. Got a motion with support to close public hearing number 2 regarding Pontchartrain SAD. Discussion. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiati is excused. Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello is excused. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Board. Next is item E6. E6 is regarding adoption of resolution number 5 for the Pontchartrain Street SAD, which sets the roll.
Same as the last one. This sets out the terms for when they have the opportunity for 30 days to be able to pay without interest. Once the treasurer sends out invoices, any payments not made, any principal not paid would go on their winter tax bill for a period of 3 years with interest estimated at about 5%, but ultimately that's pegged based on the municipal market at the time of sale.
Okay. Any discussion on resolution number 5, or is there a motion to adopt resolution number 5?
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 5.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Got a motion by Ms. Rabot with support by Mr. Badkins, pretty similar to the last one as well as the next one that we're going to discuss. Is there any discussion, board members? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiati is excused. Mr. Tominello is excused. Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. Okay, so next on our agenda, item E7 regarding public hearing number 2 for the road improvement SAD for Shoreline Drive. Is there a motion to open that public hearing?
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Witt with support by Ms. Rabot to open the public hearing for the road improvement district for Shoreline. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Witt, yes. Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiat is excused. Mr. Tominelli is excused. Mr. Verkast?
Yes. So at this time, the public hearing regarding the road improvement special assessment district for Shoreline is open. Anyone who is here who wishes to speak for or against that SAD, we invite you up to the podium. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Is there any public comment regarding the Shoreline SAD? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion with support to close the public hearing number 2, SAD, for road improvements for Shoreline. Any discussion, board members? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiat is excused. Mr. Tominelli is excused. Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkast?
Yes. Okay, next on our agenda is item E8, which is the adoption of resolution number 5 for the Shoreline Drive Special Assessment District. This is very similar to the same action we took for Malast and Pontchartrain. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 5?
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Witt with support by Ms. Rabeau to adopt resolution number 5 for the Shoreline Drive Special Assessment District. Any discussion, board members? Any public comment? Seeing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call to adopt resolution number 5?
Mr. Witt, yes. Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado is excused. Mr. Olgiat is excused. Mr. Tominelli is excused. Mr. Verkast?
Yes. So, let's see. Next on our agenda, item F1. Board members, Fire Station 2 is located on Jefferson. It was built over 20 years ago. The driveway to access the rear of the building has a steep angle that causes problems for vehicles that drive over it. This steep angle was caused by the sidewalk. We do have an opportunity to correct this issue. Jefferson is being repaved, and a concrete contractor will be doing work in the area. We have been in discussions with the Macomb County Department of Roads and the contractor, and we believe we can get this approach fixed in conjunction with the road project. We have received an initial cost estimate of $6,019.73 for the work. This cost does not include the cost to replace and lower a cast iron structure that provides access to the water gate valve. We are in discussions with the contractor to remove this work from the road project and pay them directly. It appears that this is preferred by the contractor as well as the Department of Roads, so that they do not have to modify the contract. I'll remind this board that the Jefferson repaving project is funded 80% with federal funds, and sometimes spending federal money or modifying a contract funded by federal money can bring some red tape. So if we remove this, it would likely also lower the total cost of completing the work. Considering that the contractor will have equipment in the area and will be removing and pouring concrete, it is safe to conclude that their cost is more competitive than any other contractor that would have to mobilize equipment and staff for our driveway work. The contractor has already quoted unit prices for the project, and they were selected as the low bidder. Therefore, I am requesting that we approve a cost not to exceed $8,000 to repair the driveway approach at Station 2. I believe that our cost to the contractor will be less than the $6,000, and I believe the cost to purchase and replace the cast iron structure will be less than that, but in an interest of making sure we're safe and don't encounter something unforeseen, I've asked for a cost not to exceed $8,000. Is there discussion, questions, or a motion?
I will make the motion to approve costs not to exceed $8,000 to repair the driveway approach at Station 2.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Ms. Rabeau, with support by Mr. Badkins. We have been working not only with Department of Road staff, but also the fire chief, as well as our Public Services Director, Mr. Murphy. I believe this is the right thing to do and the right time to do it. to solve a problem. And every time that fire truck goes out, it kind of drives over the steep, and it certainly isn't helping the longevity of our fire truck. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next is item G1 from our Water and Sewer Department regarding a lead service line replacement at 36262 Jefferson. The state of Michigan has mandated that all lead service lines need to be replaced by the utility. The owner of 36262 Jefferson notified us that his water service in his basement was constructed of lead. After investigation, we determined that the service was lead on both sides of the curb stop. In other words, from the water main underneath Jefferson to a shut-off box is lead, and then from that shut-off box to the home is also lead. In order to adhere to state requirements, we need to make a new tap and replace the service line all the way from the main back to the house. This is a unique lot with a treed front yard. It sits far back off of Jefferson, and there are actually two dwelling places in the back. So it's going to involve really running two independent leads and connecting them to the home. Pretty safe to say that directional boring is the best way to replace this service. We've had extensive work with Duluth Construction. We've used them in emergency cases as well as, bid out work. And directional boring is certainly, almost in some ways, more of an art. You're starting here, and 500 feet later, you're expecting to land there, not over there or there, and consistently, when we dig the target hole, they pop right into the middle of it. Their cost for the work is $7,560. Our water department will be performing additional labor on site. This board typically doesn't approve the cost for someone to go out and service a fire hydrant or paint a fire hydrant or repair a water main break. So there's an additional cost associated with this. There'll be some holes dug, probably 3 spots by the water main, by the shut-off box, and ultimately where the lines are going to end. So while there are additional costs, those are internal costs and a regular part of our operation. But in this case, the external cost is associated with Duluth Construction for their directional boring services at 36262 Jefferson for a lead service replacement at a cost of $7,560. So be looking for a motion to approve that expense.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we got a motion with support to replace this service line with assistance from Duluth Construction for their directional boring services at $7,560. Discussion, board members. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, board. Next, item G2 from the Water and Sewer Department. This was regarding engineering services. As we all know, Mount Clemens has decided to close its water treatment plant. They'll be contracting with GLWA for their primary water supply. This includes abandoning the water plant as well as 2 water mains along in the Jefferson and Crocker area that supply Mount Clemens and certain customers in Harrison Township with water. Harrison Township does not currently have a water main on Jefferson Avenue from Crocker to Beamer. We have yet to determine if it is in our best interest to run a new main from Crocker to Beamer, or if we should continue that water main to Hickler Lane. So maybe a little bit of background. Several years ago, our prior engineering services supplier created a model, not unique to Harrison Township, well, unique literally to Harrison Township, but not unique in the sense that we have a model. It's a hydraulic model. It's certainly not AI, but it contemplates the various sizes of water lines and pressure and flows and volumes that can be delivered. And so a part of deciding what we should do is really taking removing that water main, they can install, electronically or virtually, I guess you'd say, a water main in the missing area. They can do it of various sizes, and we can see what that does to things like fire flow, water pressures, and so forth. So the proposal for engineering services before us is a not-to-exceed price that involves everything from that analysis of our water model to come to a conclusion of what we should put in the ground, as well as designing that. There's a line item for potential soil conditions. I think there's an $11,000 charge. It might say it's optional, whether we need that or not, but there's also a need to look at where the existing Mount Clemens water mains are, what their timing is, coordinate with them so that we're not working in that area at a time when maybe the Mount Clemens contractor is abandoning that. And then there's the process of bidding and ultimately selecting a bidder. So this engineering services proposal before us is from our new engineering services provider. And it contemplates, it basically provides services starting from, okay, what should we do? Now let's design it, let's coordinate with other utilities, let's bid it out, and let's give a selection so that now we have the opportunity to actually award work and perform the work. We're not up against any deadline in the sense that, I shouldn't say that, I suppose we do have a deadline, but we're not up against any compressed timing or any hurrying, but the first step in the process is getting the engineering work done. So I'd be looking for a motion to approve Fishbeck to perform engineering service for the water main installation on Jefferson Avenue at a cost not to exceed $68,380. Any discussion, or is there a motion?
Well, this work definitely needs to be done. There's no, the only thing that's probably over and above is that we're upsizing it for future use as opposed to what we think today is the problem, but you wouldn't want to put in what you'd replace in 5 years because of something else. I feel comfortable with that. I don't know, Mr. Backens, you can hear wheels spinning. I don't know if you had a question
No,
before I made a
no,
motion.
I know
or-
that down there by the spillway, that somebody stopped the development down there because they didn't have enough water.
Mhm.
Will this help that if they decide down the road that they want to do it, maybe lighten the load
Yeah.
on that,
So-
for that individual?
So that's a part of what that hydraulic model analysis would be.
Okay.
Does a different size water main, how far do we go? The Public Services Director had explained to me, he believes that the analysis will suggest to go to Hickler, which is farther than we need to go. But, are there things that we could do, well, since you're already got equipment there and you're digging it up, maybe another 100 feet of a larger diameter water main connects to other things that pull water from, Metro Parkway, and give an overall, better water service. So that's something that'll be determined, and I think it'll be probably a cost-benefit analysis. But this will help us understand that better. In other words, another $10,000 could make a huge improvement, or it might be $500,000 to get a very little improvement. We don't know until we do this study, but that will certainly be, hopefully, one of the benefits.
This water and sewer budget?
It
It's
is.
water and sewer, yep.
I'll
And
make,
it-
I'll make the recommendation to approve Fishback for the engineering services.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Mr. Witt. We've had some discussion. Is there further discussion?
Yeah, I didn't mean to step on you there, Mr. Backins, but I know the engineer, he does have time constraints as far as, lining it up with the Mount Clemens work and that kind of stuff. And I know they're familiar with that timeline, but he didn't want to let it linger forever.
Correct. Right, it's, we don't have a choice. There will be a time Mount Clemens will say that main is abandoned, and I don't think we get to say, well, we're not ready yet. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll give us days, but they're not going to give us months. So we want to certainly be ahead of this. So I believe it's necessary work. Any other discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next is item H1 regarding temporary help. As you're aware, the account bookkeeper in the treasurer's office will be retiring July 31st, 2026. We posted the job internally June 12th, 2026, and received no internal candidates. Then that means we lead to posting the job externally. We did that at the appropriate time. The treasurer is requesting approval of part-time work hours to be approved for the outgoing account bookkeeper to support the treasurer's office during the transition and training period, which could be 30 to 45 calendar days. Our summer tax bills go out July 1st, so July and August are oftentimes busy with counter traffic, which further aggravates the absence, if you will. Excuse me. The treasurer will monitor the transition, workloads, and training progress. We do have the current administrative floater, as well as accounting staff from time to time when available to assist with the transition. But the suggestion would be to approve up to 200 hours of labor at the current hourly rate for the outgoing account bookkeeper, which is $27.46. So 2 hours at $27.46, which works out to be $5,492 of temporary help. This is certainly not uncommon. We've done this often, not always, when we have an outgoing person who might be retiring.
It usually ends up being revenue neutral because there's a gap in time and different coverages. Not always, but usually.
Yeah, but generally speaking, maybe that initial, come July 31, if we don't have someone in that role, we've budgeted for someone to be in that role. So if we're using a floater from somewhere else, we're really not hiring someone. So there's, through this transition, there could be savings and there can be additional, cost overlap. But ultimately, the goal is a smooth transition. We are not a large municipality. This particular office is 2 clerical staff members. If we had 3 and you're saying like, okay, well, 2 can pull together, but, we're kind of in that in-between size where we have, full-time employees, but, it would be easier to have a third person and have that redundancy, but it would be kind of not most times of the year, not cost effective. So this is kind of one of the ways that help us to, make it through a transition while still operating lean most of the time. So be looking for a motion to approve 200 hours at $27.46 for a maximum of $5,492.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there support?
Support.
All right. Got a motion by Mr. Witt with support by Ms. Rabeau. Discussion. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next, item I-1. At our March 23rd, 2026 board meeting, we appointed 3 board members to be a part of a subcommittee to evaluate construction managers and bring back a recommendation. We interviewed 3 firms. We actually solicited 5 firms, but we received 3 proposals, and the subcommittee met several times. The recommendation from the subcommittee is that we select Spence Brothers as the construction manager for our campus renovation project. There are several phases to the project, but the next phase involves value engineering, estimating, and bidding. Spence has quoted $9,000 for this phase, and we would split that cost with the library. This would get us to final construction documents as well as bids and recommendations. At that step, we can proceed or make adjustments based on costs and finances. I recommend that we select Spence Brothers for construction management services for the campus renovation project and begin Phase 1 at a cost of $4,500. I can tell you I was just in Midland for a Michigan Township Association board meeting. They're building a beautiful new visitor center for the Midland Dow Gardens, and it was interesting to see Spence was the contractor. I have to believe, based on what that project looks like, that the scope of that work far exceeds what we're doing. When we were done with the evaluation, we did have a follow-up meeting with Spence. This phase of the project, Spence quoted substantially less than the other 2 bidders, and they explained that it's one of the tools they use to try and basically win the bid. and they're hopeful that through this phase, they would prove themselves. We are not making a decision to utilize Spence Brothers for the entire construction management. That's a substantially larger contract. But the hope through this would be that whoever we would use for this value engineering and estimation and bidding would likely, short of them performing poorly, would likely be the firm that we would use for the second and what I guess would be a much larger phase. I can't say enough how valuable Mr. Badkins was on this subcommittee based on his years of experience in this industry. So I don't know if you have anything to add to the discussion.
No, I think that the whole committee was made up of the three of us and some library board members, which we are sharing the cost for the estimating and value engineering to get us, exactly as you explained, some pricing, some recommendations for the board to determine if we're going to move forward with the project, at what point, all of the stuff, the financing, I'll say the heavy lifting isn't done yet, but Spence Brothers is going to give us some really good options, I feel, based off what they had to say, so.
All right.
So this is essentially a little bit of a trial run with them. We're just kind of, if this goes through, we're doing just this with them, and then we make decisions later.
Yeah,
Is that how it goes?
Correct. Our hope is that our experience with Spence Brothers is positive, and we would likely engage them. It's worth noting that a part of what drove us to choose Spence Brothers, we evaluated three firms, and I think one of the firms said to us in the interview process, they said, you're interviewing three very qualified, talented firms. So one of them spoke highly of their peers, right? So I don't think we went into this or came out of this thinking that any of the three companies were unqualified. They all demonstrated that they've done projects much larger than ours. Spence Brothers, for whatever it's worth, their quote for the next phase, which would be in managing the entire project, was also the lowest. So if I quote our clerk who was a part of it, if they're all talented and they all bring the same skills, I like the cheapest one. And I think ultimately the committee went in that direction. So the short answer to your question is yes, this is a trial period. And unless we have a poor experience, though,
Feel pretty confident.
yeah, then we would likely recommend them for the much larger phase. Inversely, we kind of ranked them first, second, and third. If we weren't happy with this phase of the project, we'd have that chance to kind of go back and say, no, let's reevaluate who we use for phase two. So, anything I missed there, Mr. Badkins? Nope. No? Good? All right. So is there a motion to engage with Spence Brothers for this phase for $4,500?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support?
We've got a motion by Mr. Badkins, with support by Ms. Rabot. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next on our agenda is item J, which is public comments. So at this time, we'll open the floor for public comments. We ask you to try to limit those to 5 minutes in length or less, and you can be about any subject you wish.
All right, good evening, Board. Zach Eineman, Detroit Street. I wanted to start by saying that I took my daughters to the kickoff for summer reading at the library. It was a really nice event. They got to play in the foam that they had. They rented some library books. They had the popcorn, cotton candy. My younger one took the train ride. So it was a really nice event. I really appreciate it. There's just one issue I had with the event, to be honest with you guys. In my opinion, I don't think that a township event should ever allow somebody to go to the event and promote themselves running for office. I won't name the person. I don't think it's necessary, but there was somebody there who was passing out hot dogs, seemingly on behalf of the township and the library, who was wearing an apron that was promoting an office that they were running for. I don't think a township event should ever have that. If you're running for office and you want to be involved in the event, that's perfectly fine, but you shouldn't be advertising yourself. If you want to advertise yourself at the event, you shouldn't be working it. That's my opinion on the situation. Furthermore, and kind of in the same vein, I've always been a proponent of this township needing an ethics ordinance. I'm not saying anybody's doing anything untoward, but we've had some problems with corruption in other municipalities in the county, over the last few years. So I think that that's something that would be really beneficial to the community. I know Clinton Township has something similar. I know they have an ethics committee as well, something we might want to think about. I know we're not as big as Clinton Township is, but ethical governance isn't really contained to a specific size. So I just thought that it's food for thought, something I personally would like to see. Now, going back to the event that happened, for the library, it made me think about the community as a whole, and I've always felt, at least for the last several years, we haven't really had enough community events to bring us all together. If you go in the lobby there's placards from 2002 that, signify our 175th birthday that we had, at that time. I remember going there. It was at Tucker Park. There was a celebration. And, it was fun. It was a memory I have from being a teenager here in the township growing up here. If 2002 was the 175th anniversary, that means 2027 is going to be the 200th anniversary of the township. So I want to use some of my time now to kind of call for the township to have a birthday celebration in a year to, really, encapsulate our 200 years as a township. I think we need to foster a better sense of community sometimes. I don't think we have enough events, things going on in the community. And, with that as well, I remember there was a time, too, that we used to have a historical commission here in the township, which I thought was beneficial because part of your community is the history. Unfortunately, there was somebody who was really involved with that committee and then passed on, and it seems like the committee kind of died with her, unfortunately. I'd like to see that be resurrected as well. With that said, I just want to say that, I enjoyed the event. I look forward to having more. I'm raising my children here. They want to have events. They want to have memories the same as I did. You don't need, new buildings or extensions for that to happen. You just need to foster a sense of community with the people here. And hopefully that continues on, and I hope we have a celebration next year for our 200th birthday. Thank you.
Thank you.
C. William Bardell, 29-year resident, clean cut, do-gooder boy next door. Clean up, fix up, people helping people. Just want to remind everyone, check out a little bit of reading material on Facebook, Save Lake St. Clair. Stay up to date on everything. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. I heard the residents' comments about the library event. The library is overseen by its own board. This board doesn't have a say in what's done, so I imagine if you were unhappy with something that occurred there, I would suggest that you might take it up with the board that manages the library. Regarding an ethics committee, it occurs to me that many municipalities that have an ethics committee have had pretty blatant ethics violations. My experience sometimes, but certainly an ethics committee doesn't prevent ethics violations. And sometimes it's used or actually weaponized against various people. But it's certainly something we can consider. Regarding the 2027 200th anniversary, we've already held some workshops and discussions on what we can do. We're probably due for another workshop to circle back on that. So maybe we'll include that in a future board meeting. Any other board comments?
If I could say something. I know that for our birthday celebration, the Parks and Rec Committee is going to play a large part in whatever event or party that we decide to throw. So if anyone in the community is interested in helping out, my email address is on the website, and I'd be happy to chat and get you on. So
When are the meetings for Park?
we meet the second, third, put me on the spot. It's
I think it's
Wednesdays.
the third
Is it
Wednesday.
the third
because
Wednesday?
It was last week.
Yeah, it was. So the third Wednesday at 6 o'clock at the senior center at Tucker Park.
You should say it, you meet when your calendar tells you to be there.
I know. I have it on.
So,
That's the truth.
yep, all right, good. Any other board comment? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All right, discussion? Hearing none, seeing no public comment, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank you, board members.